A
What
very warm welcome, all fans. We are back live, and you're not mistaken. This is the last 16 match, a matchup, a mouth-watering matchup between Aliosis YAPP from Indonesia taking on Fedor Gorst. This is a match that would race any final anywhere, and well, it's come down into the last 16. This matchup, and calling the shots alongside myself is Gethin Davis. Gethin, what a match we have in store.
Yeah, absolutely. Two monsters of the game. But let me just say, these gentlemen have already met in this tournament. Aloysius YAPP put Fedor into the losers bracket in the winners qualification round, beating Fedor 8-5. So maybe Fedor's looking for a little bit of revenge here. Who knows? We'll wait to see. But yes, absolutely mouth-watering. The only other thing to add, Aya, Aloysius, unbeaten so far in this Men's World 8-Ball Championship. So, be interesting to see who gets their break working first. It's winner breaks format, race to 10. Our referee, Jalo Kotunumi. Oh, or is it? So Aloysius winning the lag. Aya, he will get us off to break. Hold on tight.
Yeah, Aloysius YAPP is leading the head-to-head 7-3 up, which is quite a stat considering he's playing the world number 1.
Well, the cue ball was moving. I don't know if you noticed, but for our astute viewers at home, that was a second ball break. Sort of lost the cue ball. Looked like it may have scratched in the bottom right. It didn't, and has made a ball. But it doesn't look like there's really a clear choice out there. He does have both an option of a 9 and a 6 to get started.
Now here's a stat for you, Gethin. The last 7 times these two men have played one another, Aloysius has won 6 of them.
Wow. That will possibly prove telling in this match. I mentioned with regards to winning the lag, that has proved in a couple of matches to be very beneficial in this winner breaks format. Let's see how YAPP is going to deal with this not exactly straightforward pattern for the solids. If the 5 passes the 8, it'll be a little bit easier. Would suggest the 5 does pass, the overhead showing that as well, and he's actually made light work of these, in fairness.
Well, I see YAPP pretty much the man in form who's taking on what most people would consider the best player in the world right now, Fedor Gorst. I cannot emphasize how lucky we are, Gethin, to be watching this match live and for free.
Yeah, an absolute corker we have in store. As you mentioned, this could be a final in itself. Fedor not getting out of his chair as of yet. A break and run to get us going. Aloysius off the mark. Will retain the break. As we mentioned, this is the last 16 of this Yalin WPA Men's World 8-Ball Championship. A few of the matches out there. Some highlights. We have 3 other stream tables for you. Coming up on table 1 after the completion of the women's match there, Wukan Ling taking on Skylar Woodward. On table 3, we have Misko Fortunski taking on Albin Ushan, another monster match. And to top that one off on our stream tables, Jason Shaw versus Cledio Kachi. There are more matches underway, kicking off now. You'll see in the background there, but that's just a little taster. And as the scores start to come through, we will keep you abreast of all highlights coming in. Now, persisting, I would imagine, with the second ball break, Aya.
Yeah, I was wondering which break strategy both these men will deploy here. Well, not a very big spread on the balls, so that was not per se the best rack. And have a look at this. Now, it feels like the only sensible attacking option he's got is the 7 ball here, so he could use that angle on the 7 to go straight into the 4 and the 10 there. Now, if he doesn't tie up the 4 after making contact with it, presuming he does make contact with it, this could be a very good chance actually for Fedor to clean out here the stripes, solids.
We're with you. There's a lot of them out there. But yeah, if he is forced to take solids here, Aya, that will be his best opportunity to get that 4 out earlier rather than later. Ooh. Well, he's got a little bit more distance to work with, but hasn't opened up that pocket for the bottom left with the purple 4. And has also just got difficult cueing now with the cue ball to continue the run.
I can't really see if he can get to the putting angle on the 2 ball to try and drop it into the side. If he can't, he's come down. That is telling me he's considering a safety here. But that 12 ball is puttable, so if he's trying to play safe where he put his hand there. Ah, I see. So he's trying to drop the 1 into the side here. If it doesn't fall, he's basically trying to play this pocket speed. Also simultaneously looking to tie the middle pocket if it does not fall. Yeah, but he's not tied the middle pocket there. Aloysius can definitely drop this 12 ball in. Be interesting to see whether he can avoid running into the 8 ball here or not. Looks like he just might go around it. That would make a big difference, Gethin, if he can avoid running into the 8 or not. Well, he's actually looking at the 11 here, taking the more aggressive shot. Maybe he feels like if he can putt the 11, he can nudge the 15 out. Much more aggressive shot.
Oh, it looks like he'd have to catch it very thin.
Well, he's actually called the 12 side. How the referee called that, so he's going to drop this one in, looking to avoid running into the 8.
Yeah. And looking from the camera angle, that 9 does have the top right available. That makes making position on it that bit easier. But he's still got that 15, 14 cluster to think of. Can he push through now and maybe maneuver the 15?
Yeah, it's a tough out, this. Played position on the 10. Is he on the 10? I think he is, you know.
Wow.
That's a great shot. Yeah, hold his hand. It was a bit fortunate. That cue ball could have dropped, but He did play position on the 10. Just
He was a
didn't
bit surprised
envision
himself, I think.
yeah, just didn't envision the cue ball to land where it has, but he'll take it. Now needs to leave himself an angle on the 11 to try and disturb the 15.
I'm still not sure if that angle is going to work. Maybe he's forced to take the 9 here to get a more straighter angle on the 11. Then he is leaving it down to that shot alone.
Yeah, that's my mistake, actually. He did play on the 9. He definitely didn't play on the 11 there. He wanted to take away the 9 first. As you saw and mentioned, it was pretty occupied there in the middle of the table. This is the perfect angle now on the 11. Now I would imagine if you can hit the joint of the 14 and the 15, just, you know, pocket speed, you would open them up like a bunch of flowers. It's not completely gone to plan. Needed that cue ball to come off, let's say, half an inch.
Yeah, and I got a feeling he's going to need to bring that cue ball the whole length of the table and back again with avoiding traffic right through the middle of the 4 and the 5. This is by no means an easy shot. He's running into the traffic.
Now then, would you go for the cut here or the bank? Bank shot called.
I would always go the bank in this position. But that's just because of my eyesight. Yeah.
Going for the long straight bank here. No.
No. That was right into the pocket where Gorst was sitting. He would have shown a bit of appreciation for that. Gorst, a big fan of the banks. But now, a good opportunity for him just to get his arm into a bit of rhythm and get a number on the board. Now, we were talking in our Seyberts women's 10-ball open match before this, and Kenny Fisher was employing, you'd have to say, a slightly defensive break. Would you also suggest that second ball breaking is more defensive than offensive?
Normally I would, but not in this event. These players are breaking second ball for a reason, because they can't rely on the racks given. And no, and once again, this is not a knock on the match officials. They can't even study the rack. So if you would be playing, let's say, a money match and it is hand rack, you can still inspect the rack maybe, but not in this case. You just have to accept. You can't ask the referee to re-rack either, so it does allow the break to be somewhat spontaneous. And if you summarize all those factors, I don't think it's crazy to break from the second ball, let me put it that way.
No, that's a fair point. That is a fair point indeed, Aya. And I have to say, from my perspective, and it's slightly selfish being in the box, normally it leaves a couple of clusters, which means we have to watch these players just move a few balls and develop a couple of clusters. And it really does bring them out of their shell. In this case, well, a missed bank shot by Aloysius YAPP, and that brings the scoreline back to 1 apiece in this race to 10. I wonder if that's going to be indicative of the way this match will pan out. One thing we'll get to see now is Gorst's first break, and let's see if they're let's see where he will be breaking from.
I mean, historically speaking, whenever these two men have met, it's always been pretty close. 13-11, Aloysius YAPP, Battle of the Bull, 9-ball. That was in 2023. 10-8, Aloysius Rapp, International Open, 10-ball division. 10-8, International Open, 9-ball division. Fedor Gorst won the International Bigfoot 10-ball challenge. 10-3, that was the most lopsided victory. And then the most recent 13-11, Aloysius YAPP in the US Open Pool Championships. Always been very close, and it's exactly what you would expect from these two players. Even the Fargo rating is pretty much even, so it's 50-50 this match.
Right down the center with full venom, and that may be why a few of the players have been turning it down, that position for the break shot, because again, good spread, nothing dropping. Well, if it wasn't for that 6-ball, I would quite fancy the solids here. The 11 does pass the 6 into the side pocket, so options. That is now going to leave a tricky 14, unless...
No, he's
I was going to say, unless he goes airborne.
I think the 13 is the easiest jump, but he's looking at the 12 ball, I believe. Or is he looking at the 13? Yeah, he's a left-hander, so this 13, you'd expect him to make this. Ooh. Have a look at the cue ball. I want to see where the cue ball is.
Oh no.
Federer has to jump as well now. That 4-1 combination, I would imagine.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. He may have an opportunity, if he plays it well enough, to develop the 6 in the same shot, and that could really open up this rack. There's not much distance between the cue ball and the 12. It's going to really need to jack up for this one. Look at that. Ooh.
I do wonder, what has he left? Can Aloysius see enough of the 10 ball to putt it?
If not, he may be forced into a thin cut on this 11.
Yeah, there you can see he can't get to the putting angle. Forced into taking the shot, and if that 3-ball wasn't there, I'd fancy him to run out here. But that 3-ball is massive in his way, which makes the positional side of the shot even harder now. And let's not forget, this 11 is no gimme by any means.
No, if he is to avoid the 3, he should be running up towards the 9, maybe even between the 9-5. Good line, did contact the 3.
Well, I'll tell you what, Gethin, he will take that any day of the week.
Yeah, he even has options. Opened up both the 9 and the 10 for him here.
Yeah, that's a smart shot. He's played his cue ball in an area. Have a look at this. He can take the 13. He could even take the 9, and he would always have the 12.
Yeah. Played that well as well. And
just
Aloysius he's looking good amongst the balls, Arya.
He always looks good at the table. Same goes for his opponent, by the way. There,
interesting face.
Yeah, Gerson Martinez. He is the Alex Higgins of pool billiards.
That is a great analogy. Been very entertaining this week, Gerson. Now, just for position on the 8. Seems quite natural just to run off the short rail up towards it.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was expecting for these two players. This was not per se the easiest out, but it just felt like as soon as he made that 11 and landed on, well, numerous balls, you'd fancy him to take it out, and that's exactly what he's done.
He's done that nicely, Arya. And just to bring you the matches going on the other tables in this last 16 matchup in the WPA World 8-Ball Championships, we've got Stefan Kasper. He's taken a 1-0 lead over Victor Zielinski. Victor, we will see later tonight in the mixed doubles final. We've got Mario Hay and Daniel Massiel locked at 1 apiece. Albin Ushan has taken a 2-1 lead over Misko Fortunski. Claudio Cacci off to a great start. 2-0 the lead over Jason Shaw. And Skylar Woodward, Wu Kinlin yet to kick off. And the last remaining match, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz is 2 up on Demetrius Lukatos. And oh, I did forget one match, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, yet to kick off. Carlo Biado is taking on the Dutchman Marco Teutsch. So Aloysius, he looks like he's swapping sides for this break. Aya?
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of mixing it up on the break for both these players. As you can see, whenever they get a chance, more often than not, they will run the rack. So it's all about getting a ball on the break.
And that was
one.
One
Down. That 3 ball is just run into the 14, which is now added another dilemma on the table.
Well, it's starting to fill up here. 11:30 before the noon in St. Louis, Missouri. And there are some big matches coming up. The crowd's getting here to watch. I'm sure they're very much looking forward to the Poison Mixed Doubles event coming up later. But what a match they're greeted to here. He's going to have to move some balls. Is Aloysius here, Arya? Combination?
Yeah, it's a two-way shot. Not only is he trying to make the combination, he will send his cue ball into the 14 and the 3. It will open up the rack. Oh, that's unlucky. That is very unlucky.
He got the contact, just didn't get the result. Or is he playing off it to call the 10? Oh, I think he was. Can Gorst see enough of the 3 from here? If he can, he will want to dispatch of that ball sooner rather than later, unless he doesn't feel the patterns on, in which case it is covering the 14, the green stripe. Oh, I think he's getting a clap, but that...
No, that's a hook.
Red
That's definitely a hook. You can use the
just looked
side
like
rail, you know, to jump over this 3 and 14, even though you'll have to play it with side as well. Rail first.
Yeah, he got a bit of a bump on the 3, which just opened up a millimetre or 2, but not enough. Still not an obvious layout for Gorst here, especially due to the fact that getting position on his next ball, if he were to take the red 3 on here, especially where the cue ball's located, is going to be very, very difficult. He may choose just to leave that red 3 and get a safety somewhere else on the table, Arya.
I don't know where do you get safe when that 10 ball is literally hanging over the hole.
I don't know, slide off the 1 and come up behind the 7 perhaps, but yeah, it's more about just keeping that 14 locked up on the 3, and it does look a little bit tricky to be able to develop it from where the other stripes are.
Yeah, that's a good shot. Purposely potted the 10 there. He has that 14 ball as a insurance policy there. YAPP can definitely take on the 15 into the side, but at some point he'll have to disturb the 14. I mean, he could in theory play position on the short side, but that's a very narrow window there.
Didn't make the pot, has locked up the 7 into the side pocket, but as you can see, the 7's still available to the top left. That 1 ball is in a bit of an ugly spot, locked against the 11 as well, Arya.
He can now develop the 3 ball. He would have the 2 into the side as an insurance. And I tell you what, if he wants to go aggressive, he can take the risk here, try and pot the 2 ball with some pace, and just run into the 1 and the 11, of course. If he hits the 1 full ball, he would have the 3 available to him. I think it's worth taking the risk here. And that was the shot for me, but that 2 ball, as you can see, into the sides, they're very narrow. You have to be very, very precise.
Yep, taking on the 9. Delicately played. May want to try and get on the 15 here. Although looking at the 12 ball, the purple stripe, that may be hampered into the bottom left corner. Yeah, I think that 3 is certainly not giving it the whole pocket, if that.
He's played position on the 12 here. It was a smart shot. Like you mentioned there, Gethin. That 3 ball is blocking the bottom left for the 12. The only problem is he's glued to the rail. He wants to, well, so much so he's actually going jacked up to try and stay on the left side of the table here.
Oh,
Now, he's not perfect on the
has.
11 here, but it's one of those, it's natural angle. You need to focus on making the 11 and play it hard enough just to go past the 7. For the 8 into the same side pocket. And it is hard enough to go around the 7. Perfectly played.
He was listening to you, Aya, and delivered. And this for 3-1. And the break. Not a bad start for YAPP. He is making balls off the break as well. So, taken somewhat of a driver's seat. And as I mentioned, YAPP is unbeaten in this tournament. And Gorst has only lost 1 match, and that was in the winners' qualification against this very man. So, YAPP keeping that momentum, you have to feel. As we just take a look at the live statistics, which you can find on ProBilliardSeries.com. If you just scroll down underneath the links to the draws for our 4 events here, you'll see a link to the live stats. Only 1 break from Gorst so far, so not so much to glean from that as of yet, aside of the fact YAPP is making balls. The 6 dropped. Yeah. Gorst missed it. He's out of his chair. But everything bar that 1 stripe on the left-hand side of the table, one of the results of a second ball break. So quite a few clusters. Yeah, a few clusters to deal with.
If he can leave himself an angle on the 11 after the 9 here. Needs that cue ball to run a bit further. Now, I do wonder if he can send this cue ball into the 4 and the 15 there. It's not a lot of angle to work with, but I think it's just enough he can power this in.
How's his result?
Not too great.
No, I would look to go safe here. Maybe draw the cue ball behind the 8. There may be a chance he can bring the 13 around the rails. And maybe bring it inside the 7 down into the bottom left corner.
Good
Yeah,
shot.
good cue ball. As you can see, maybe the thinnest of edges on the two, but that's not going to help Fedor here.
I wonder, Gethin, if there's any value in trying to kick the 7. No, he's going for a jump. The only reason I said try and kick the 7, you want to play at pocket speed to try and tie up that left bottom corner pocket. But this is also a great result. The only shot he's left here is the cut on the 14, which I feel Aloysius will go for, but how much will he get after it? Not so much, you would think.
No, he's turning it down. Even probably because there wasn't that much benefit to have gained from it.
This is a fascinating tactical exchange.
Yeah. He's pushed the 2 into trouble. 2 of his stripes have dressed up on the long rail. Nothing clear cut for either player as of yet. Not too sure. Yeah, I was going to say if he can take the 5, but not pot it and bring the cue ball over to the 8. He's made it. Now maybe rail first and trying to get something from the 2 safe. Don't know if that's going to be possible. You can see the 1. And that probably, yeah, has tied up that 8 ball. So, well, we're going to be in for a tussle here in this 5th rack. And it's difficult to see who's got the advantage at the moment. It may just take one key shot to throw the advantage one way.
When you have 2 of the sharpest shooters in the world playing one another, these safety exchanges are at the highest level. Because they both know if they give each other even a sniff, they could produce a magical out here. That's why they're constantly tying up balls just to prevent the other to create some magic.
Well, I have to say, personally,
What a great shot that is. What a great shot that is.
And I was about to say before he took the words out of my mouth, in a situation like this where the balls are locked up and it turns into a bit more of a chess game, I actually do fancy Fedor more, purely down to a lot of the one-pocket matches I've seen him play. He is very patient and very astute when it comes to that cue ball, so maybe a good tactic from Fedor here, and he's got a ball in hand. Is he looking to play the 3 off the 7 after this? Or is he coming behind it?
Yeah, after 7. Now, it would be even better if you can pot it after 13. 'Cause you
Yeah,
pushed
good
it
shout.
13 after 7. And you would have the 7.
Is he looking to smuggle that cue ball into position for the 1 as well? Oh, that would be a shot. He has.
Now, this is one where you would expect the referee to have a close look. This is very tight. Now, if you can pot the 1, it is definitely the move. And it would be highly likely the winning shot in this rack. No need for the referee to watch there. That was clean as a whistle. What a great, absolutely fantastic display of tactical exchange as well as shot selection. This is why these two men are at the top of the game.
Yeah, and locking that cue ball tight in that safety shot from Gorst really narrowed down and limited YAPP's options. Wasn't far away from contacting the 12 ball, but from ball in hand, Gorst has really played a beautiful pattern here.
Would have loved that cue ball to travel a foot further, but this is the type of shot you don't expect either of these players to miss. But it goes without saying, it's not 100% unmissable, of course.
To bring the score back within 1, Fedor Gorst takes our 5th rack in this race to 10 and now trails 3 racks to 2 against Aloysius YAPP. We'll just bring you a couple of updates from our other last 16 matches that are underway. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, 2-1 up against the Greek Demetrios Lukatos. Match between Wu and Skylar, well, that's still to kick off. Jason Shaw trails 2-3 to Kledio Kaci. Albin Ushan, 4-1 up on Misko Fortunsky. Mario Hay has taken the lead after trailing 1-0. He now leads 2-1 to Daniel Maciol. Carlo Biado and Marco Teucher's match is still yet to get a score on the board. And Viktor Zielinski, 4-1 up on Stefan Kasper, and both keeping his run here in the Men's World 8-Ball Championships and an opportunity to win the Mixed Doubles Open at 7 o'clock tonight when him and So Soa take on Zhao Fang Fu and the St. Louis home hopeful Justin Bergman. Now, Gorst to break, trails by 1 rack in this race to 10.
How unfortunate is that? That's that shake of the head will tell you what he thinks about this.
Well, if he wants to mount a charge from this position, it's going to be solids only, and that's a thin cut on either the 2 or the 1. So he may not even decide to pull the trigger as of yet.
I mean, that 2 ball is a cut you see quite often in straight pool.
He might be able to pick the 6 through that gap, you know.
Oh, yeah, the 6 ball. Yeah, it's looking straight, actually. He doesn't need to do a lot with the cue ball, just hold it there for the 1 into the side. What a bonus that is. Oh, it's just dropped. What a bonus that is. That 6 ball was occupied. You can take the 1 here. Maybe even take the 5 away while you're at it, and then play position on the 4 or the 3. The next thing you know, you're halfway there.
Oh, he may have picked out a line for that 4 ball here, Aya, and if he can draw back clean and avoid just bumping the stripe underneath it towards the 3. Here's the 13. Oh, this could be a very good opportunity. I'm wondering if the 7 passes the 9, bringing it down the bottom of the table. What do you think, Aya?
I don't know, it's you can't tell from this camera angle. Obviously that's for later. As you were talking about, can he draw the cue ball back straight and clean? I don't think so. He's got a slight angle on the 4, so that cue ball will run into the 13. So he might even consider to take the 3 first. No, going for the 4 here. This will be a power draw. Oh, what a good shot that is. What a good shot. I say a good shot. He's managed to put that 3 ball safe now. So to go out here, he'll have to play at least a shot into the 3 and try and develop it.
May be able to get something off the 5.
Yeah,
to be
exactly.
able to develop it.
He might just, you know, let his cue ball run into the 9 like that. That will ensure an angle. Now you do need a bit of luck here.
He can't come underneath it either. That 15 blocking the pathway to the bottom right.
Needs a bit of luck.
Gonna have to be a bank of sorts. And yep, side pocket. He wasn't able to convert an earlier bank that he took on into the top left pocket. Can he change his fortune this time? Should be able to land on the blue too if he is able to make it.
Tough one, Kevin. This is a tough one.
Yeah, you have
felt
to
like
straighten that
the
up.
angle was too steep.
Now, what Aloysius has done, Aya, is he's got a lot of traffic off of the table for Fedor here.
Yeah, definitely. That's always the case with 8 ball. The deeper you go in a rack is the worst time to come up short or run out of position. I do believe that 15 goes past the 2 ball, and the only ball slightly not wide in the open is the 11, so if he can play on the 11 here, he will play for it. Yeah, there you go. He's played for the 11 into the side. That really opens up the rack now for Fedor.
Yeah, it does. You only have to look at the 8. That's the only one really Gorst is going to need to be particular on because the obvious pocket is blocked. The 5 does pass the 2. Yeah, so it looks like Well, I was going to say he'd probably now need to use the 15 as his key ball. But I do kind of like using the 10 to get down for the 8 on the right side of it. Has the angle to bring the cue ball long rail across the table. May take a chunk of the second long rail. But this is a good chance for 3-3 Aya. And this match brewing up very nicely indeed, as expected.
Yeah, like I said at the top of the program, this match would grace any final, and it's only the last 16, so you can imagine the quality of the player still left in the field. He's trying to send his cue ball between the middle and the third diamond.
Would like a bounce. Just like that, Aya. 3-3 is the score, nothing to put between the players. The only difference is Gorst has got the break, taking us into the 7th rack. Just a quick note, our table that we were waiting for on table 1 was the matchup between Yasmin Ushan and Rubian Almit for the Philippines. Yasmin took that 2-1 and progresses through to the quarterfinals. There's still 3 matches underway in the women's last 16 of the Seyberts 10-ball open. Brittany Bryant has just taken a result, 2-1 over Jordan Helfrey. And the 2 remaining matches, Cheska Centino against Chihiro Kawahara. They're at 1 apiece, 3-2 in the last set there. And Yu Chao is taking on Kristina Zlateva, and they're still 1 apiece. But the reason I bring up the women's is following on from this round of the men's. When the last 16 complete, we will move into the Seybert Women's 10-ball Open quarterfinals. So we'll keep you abreast of the names and the lineup in that. We'll also bring you some scores from more of the men's last 16 as well. Gorst to break. 3-3 the score, race to 10. Wow. Really sounded like good contact, Aya. Balls were rolling. The 2 that I thought were going to be dropping in pocket seemed to be blocked by other balls. And what a good spread. I mean, Aloysius must be feeling that offense is the best here. And dare I say, solids would be my way to go.
Yeah. Because of the position of the 14 ball, solids do look a lot more inviting. I think he's taking a 5 first.
Interesting.
Yeah, he was trying to avoid the 12 for the 7 into the top right.
Always had the 6s back up, which helps. But once the 7 is out of there and he's cleared the traffic, it really does start to open up for him nicely here, Aya.
Yeah, absolutely. This match has been top quality ever since the first ball, and it's exactly what we expected from it. Like we've... Ooh. He had to swerve it. He couldn't see it directly. He did swerve it, and it just hit the knuckle of the middle pocket. Now, that's a collector's item. We didn't expect that.
No, indeed. Not that Gorst ever wants to be comfortable in his chair, but I don't think he was expecting to come out right now. And, well, the 9 is covered, and it will be awkward queuing over the 6.
He's looking to take the 12 here. If you take the 12, it's not hampered queuing. 13 might look easier, but you know, you're bridging over the 6. Oh, the 10 ball, my mistake. And he's played it to perfection. Now, the key shot obviously is the 9 onto the 14.
Is he going to try leaving that till the end? Oof.
Yeah, that's a good question, Gethin. I don't know if that is the wise decision, because let's say if you try and develop the 14, you could land on the 12 if the 14 doesn't present itself. You could even risk running into the 6 ball here after 15. So he's addressing that 9 ball, but where does the 14 go? It clearly doesn't go into the bottom corner pockets, either of them. Or does it?
I don't know. Did he just indicate that it might pass the 4? Doesn't look like it from here.
Yeah, it looked like he was eyeing up that shot, like you said. No, try to run into it.
He was. And now it's going to have to be position from another of the stripes at the top of the table. I was going to say, or a bank shot, but I think the 1 is blocking the bank. And that would be maybe a bridge too far. Oh, nice pot. How's his leave? That might not be too bad, you know.
Yeah, I'm not so convinced, Gethin, but you know, he's got a chance here. If he can land this cue ball close to the 1, he can take the 14 into the right middle pocket, but that's a very, very risky shot and possibly his only option here. He's got the angle to send his cue ball towards the 1 or close to the 1. Not behind the 1 though. Not behind the 1. It's going to be a tough jump.
Have to say, fantastic pot from Gorst. It was very difficult to control the pace. Though both these players quite proficient with the jump stick area. This should go close, if not down.
No.
No.
Too bad.
Now, YAPP back to the table. He doesn't really have too much to do. Would ideally not want that 6-ball to come back and haunt him again.
Yeah, it's hard to see this go wrong, Gethin, particularly with this man at the table.
No, I fully agree. Would expect him fully to pick these off and regain the lead. Gorst yet to take the lead in this match so far. Yep, just keeping his neck out in front, if not when level. And when he takes these off, let me let you know, ladies and gentlemen, there's some nice scores out there in the last 16 of this men's WPA 8-Ball World Championship. I'll bring you some updates in a moment, but as you suggested, Aya, Aloysius picking these off rather nicely.
I was thinking this to myself, Gethin. Imagine you live nearby the event and you think to yourself, what's going on there? And you walk in because the tickets, you can watch this for free, as well as on YouTube as live. And you see these two men play and you think, this is an easy game. It's not. You're watching two of the best.
Yeah, very well put. You know, you mentioned about these players making it look easy. I actually thought it was going to be a little bit easier when Aloysius got off to a break and run in this match, but it's not been all the way of the break, and that's what's kept this so interesting for both us in the box and our viewers. Having a quick look around the table, Francisco Sanchez-Ruiz is 4-2 up on Demetrius Ducatos. Wu Kunlin has taken a 2-1 lead over one of the home hopefuls, Skylar Woodward, the US contingency here. Jason Shaw, 5-3 up over Claudio Cacci. Albin Ushan, 6-2 up over Misko Fortunsky. And Mario Hay, Daniel Maciel, currently locked up at a 3-3. Marco Teutsch has taken a quick lead over Carlo Biado, 2-1. And Victor Zielinski really looking to get in tune for his mixed doubles final this evening. 6-1 up over the very tough German Stefan Kasper. Big names out there, Aya. Big names in here on table 2.
Yeah, we were expecting a classic and it's definitely delivered so far. Once again, break, very, very tricky.
Well, something's going to have to be done down there. I do feel there are angles to be found to run into them, but no value. I don't think there's any value playing into them directly. So this 4 should drag them into it. Oh. Either needed to be a little bit stronger or needed to come high on contact in the 11. That's not left Fedor with an opportunity here, so it's going to need to start looking at good safe position for the cue ball. And that's not immediately obvious. If he can play off the 6 to come back underneath the 11 ball. Yeah, look at that, locked up. Yeah, if he can play off the 6, maybe comes underneath the 11. Oh, he's done that really, really well. Given Aloysius really nothing to look at. Referee coming in to have a close look at this inspection. Legal shot. Gorst can only see the 3. May just look to lock against the 11. It might start to work a bit more against him, though, if he is to go that route. Oh.
You can play an aggressive safety if he wants here. Tie his cue ball behind the 11, send the free ball into the 7 and the 1.
The crowd studiously watching. I do like that Arya. Sometimes the best form of defense is good offense. That's not a bad idea at all.
Look, my biggest weakness was always patience, amongst many. So when it was time to play defense, I was very, very aggressive, even with the safeties, because I just cannot stand that tiptoeing around one another, even though sometimes it is required. So if I have a chance to develop something while playing safe, I would more often than not look at it and consider it.
Well, there are options here for Gorst. He could just roll up onto the 7 here and just open the 7-1 just a little to free them up. Oh, just like that, Arya. Thank you, Fedor. Now, did he call the 10 in the side just as backup here? Not just as backup. He's going for it. 2 rails. No. And after a good little tussle, Arya. Advantage Gorst, ball in hand. How useful with that little nudge he made on the 7-1 come to him here. Will that allow him to go for it straight away? I think it will. He's opening with the 5. And then clearing out the red 3 here. That will open up that corner pocket for the 7-1. He does look quite straight on it, though. No, not straight at all.
You can take the 6 if he wants right now, but can he avoid running into the 11?
He did. And he'll probably pick the 1 and 7 off here. And if he can get the cue ball just to the left of, or rather in the left-hand side of the table from the 8, he should have the right angle to draw the cue ball off the long rail back out for the 8. Straight would also work, Arya, on the blue 2.
Yeah, he's got a nice angle to come into the line of the 2, like you said. Even if he would land straight, it's still fine. You can take the 8 into the bottom left, or if he does not want to flirt with that 13, play the 8 to the side. Top quality stuff.
Absolutely top quality stuff indeed from both players, reflected in this tightly fought scoreline. 4 apiece between the players. Gorst with the break. We'll bring you some updates from this last 16 men's, but first just want to make comment on the Seyberts Women's 10-ball Open. Just one match still underway in the last 16 there. The quarterfinals pretty much decided. We're going to have the Canadian Brittany Bryant taking on the Japanese player Chihiro Kawahara. Soa, who will be performing with Victor Zielinski in the mixed doubles final this evening. Well, she takes on Yasmin Ushan. That will be one to watch. Kelly Fisher, who was on this table just now, will be taking on Xiaofang Fu. And the winner between Che Yu Chao and Kristina Zlateva will be taking on the strong German Pia Filler. Their matches will be taking place or kicking off after this at 1:30 local time. That's an hour and a quarter from now, so set your alarms. Gorst to break, firing down the center of the table, are you?
Well, there you go.
He
Hit that
gave
one
that
with a bit more power.
everything. He really threw himself at that one, Arya. Wanted to get every little bit of energy out of his arm. It's been rewarded. And with that cluster of stripes and the 8 being available to the top left, solids could be the order of the day here.
Yeah. It's mainly because of that 12 and the 11, like you said. And of course, his opening shot here on the 2 is unmissable.
Ooh. That 7 could now be a problem. Should be able to play from 5 to 7 into the side pocket, but just a little bit
He's
more
okay,
difficult.
You know, Gethin. He could stun his cue ball on and off the bottom rail, play it into an area where if he doesn't land nicely on the 7, he would always have that 5. Or off 2 rails will also work. Try to disturb it. Lovely shot.
Nice. May even be left on the 7 here. He had a little look at it. One thing I heard yesterday from Derek Cox, our compere here, an introducer, he mentioned yesterday, Arya, that this is the highest rated Fargo tournament in the world at the moment. And the total prize money for the 4 events here, $600,000 awarded, 300,000 just in the pot for this men's World 8-Ball Championship. So these players are fighting for a pretty penny as well as the prestige.
Of which 90,000 that will go to the winner of the World 8-Ball Champion men's.
Gorst has dealt with that 7 really nicely. This should be him out here.
Yeah, he's landed perfect. This is a small stun shot, more or less like a stop shot. And he's got that 8-ball available to him. Once again, beautiful out. And even more so encouraging, he took the bull by the horns on the break, and this is the result.
Yeah,
when these
agreed.
players start breaking and they make balls on the break, they will run the rack more often than not, and that's exactly what happened there.
First time in our match, Aya, that Fedor has taken the lead, and he's done it with a break and run. And I have to say, I think that's the first time he hasn't broke dry. You picked up on it, reaping rewards from his effort, and, well, maybe he'll recreate it for this break, but he threw everything he had at the break, kept good control of the cue ball, and has reaped rewards from it. On our other tables, well, Victor Zielinski, he's running away with it there. 7-1 up on Stefan Kasper. Mario Hay and Daniel Maciel, that's a different affair. 4 apiece. Albin Ushan, 7-3 up on Misko Fortunski. And Francisco Sanchez Ruiz is 5-2 up on the Greek player Demetrios Lukatos. All scores on ProBilliardSeries.com. Links to our events underway and results. Can Gorst deliver again from the break?
Oh, wow. How unfortunate was that? But
Wow.
it's not a sitter, this. Have a look at that cluster of 3 balls on the side rail.
Yeah, the 2 sandwiched between the 9 and 10. There are balls around it to develop. I'm just having a look to see if there's anything obvious. Yeah, that 14 as well is in a spot of bother. Is there an opener if he wants to go solids? I don't think he's got a pathway through to the red 3. That would be a good opener if he went that way. Otherwise, there certainly are options on the stripes.
I mean, if he wants to play solids, he can take the 3 ball here. Yeah, it's
He
called a
can
3
see
ball.
it. Yeah.
Good news is he is on the solids, but that's pretty much the end of the good news as well.
Well, he's got, if he can finish straight on the 5, he can float through to the 1, but that ain't going to solve the problem with the blue 2, and it's not in a bankable position, so if anything, he's going to have to look to develop it from that 5, which is going to make the 1 ball a little bit lonely. That's what he's thinking about here. I really can't see another ball that he can play into that 2 from. Maybe this 4 would have been it. Well, I don't believe he'll be doing it from the 6, but this does give him a chance to maybe develop good position on the 5.
In a weird way, this is quite risky. I don't feel like he's got many other options, but the more balls he takes off the table, the more likely a potential counter clearance will become for Fedor if he fails to disturb the 2 ball. He's got a chance here now. If he can draw his cue ball into the 10 ball, he should be able to see the 7 after it and just hope that he can develop the 2. I'll tell
Hands
you what,
opened
he
up.
has developed the 2. It does putt into the bottom left now, but how do you land on the 2? Particularly with this thin shot on the 7, he might have to play into it. Maybe you can check the cue ball. Now, no, he's not checking the cue ball. I was wondering if he could check the cue ball, maybe even graze the 14. Try to hold for the 1, and he's played that to perfection. But he's not out of the woods just yet.
Can he run it around the angles and avoid the 12 and find a gap somewhere between the 8 and the others? This would be a shot.
Yeah, this is what you would consider a stun run through. Needs to play this with a lot of power just to avoid the 12, like you said. No, that's too short. Now either he's gonna play the putt of the century, but that was why I said this is quite a risky turn, because he's solved all the problems bar the 2 ball here, and well, if he makes this, I sincerely hope he gets the trophy. I mean, this is 1 in 100.
Wasn't far away.
No, not at all. It got very close.
Fortunately, Aya, close is not going to be good enough here. The spread of the balls, oh, maybe the 2 just covering the 14 will give Gorst a little bit of an extra headache. But right now, looking at that table, this looks like Gorst's for the taking.
Yeah, I don't feel like the 14 ball will cause trouble for him, but you are right. It doesn't go past the 2 ball, so at some point he'll have to play a good positional shot on the 14. It does go into the bottom right, but might have to get rid of the 12 first.
He's straight on the 11, can pick his spot to take the 10 next if he wants to go that way. May feel his 11-10 are best suited for the end of the pattern, but where the cue ball is right now, I would want to pick them 2 off first. And also the 14 doesn't pass to the bottom right unless he takes the 12 out, the purple stripe first. Now
well, he can try and play a 2-way position here after 15. For the 14 into the side, if he doesn't land nice on it, he'll have the 12.
if he is too straight, he could just play a stop shot, but I prefer playing, as you said, into a position where he's got options. Now he doesn't, and that's a little bit thinner than he'd like to think.
Yeah, you'll have to come in and out of the bulk, I feel. Send the cue word towards the top rail, past the middle pocket towards the first diamond below the middle pocket would be ideal. Doesn't want to hit the 14. It'll have to be a bank shot now.
Well, his opponent has taken on 2 banks at the end of racks without success. I don't think he's going to take
Play
this
safe.
on, Hyatt.
Use the 8 ball as well as the 14. Good shot.
Yeah, gets a ripple of applause. That shot was a lot more difficult than it looked, especially in how he's brought the 14 to cover it as well. Is he going to want to play this gently? He has. Oh. That has left it available to the side pocket Hyatt, and this could be Gorst taking a 2-rack lead.
Yeah, his defensive play in this match has been second to none.
Yeah, both players have been up against it. Gorst has had to be patient, in all fairness, Hyatt. Took him till 4-4 to take the lead, and now it looks like he's going to extend it at the earliest opportunity, and does. Takes us to 6-4 in this race to 10, and will retain the break. Having a look around the table, FSR 7-2 up on Demetrius Lukatos. A score just come in from the match between Cledio Kachi and Jason Shaw. Kachi's brought it back to 6 apiece in that match. Albin Ushan leading comfortably at the moment, 8-3 against Misko Fordunsky. Daniel Maciel has now taken the lead, 2-rack lead against Mario Hay, 6-4. Marco Teucher still retaining his lead, 3-1. And Victor Zielinski, well, he's flying along there in his match against Stefan Kasper. 8-1 is the score there. Now, are you having a look at these stats? What are you gleaning from them? Well, at the moment, Aloysius Yapp appearing to get the better of the break success. I believe Gorst has only had 1 successful break. Difference between the two. Aloysius has been persisting with the second ball break. Gorst is going down the channel with as much power as possible. Another interesting statistic, in the offense, both balls pocketed and balls pocketed per inning, bit like for like. And yes, Gorst just getting the best of the fouls drawn. I just noticed Yapp has taken a small break, so myself, Aya Sarabi, will just take a short break with the players, and we'll be back with you very shortly for the culmination of this race to 10 and for a place in the quarterfinals. Don't go anywhere. Warm welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the culmination of this last 16 matchup between Fedor Gorst and Aloysius YAPP. Currently Gorst leading 6-4 with the break. Joining me back in the box, Arya Sarabi. My name's Gethin Davis. Welcome back, Arya. And straight in with another dry break. Both players struggling somewhat. And Aloysius wanting to start with stripes, I feel. And nothing obvious for him there. Well, he's called his extension. I've just been having a look around from the overhead. Nothing immediately obvious jumping out at me. And as I mentioned, he's desperate to go stripes, but might be forced to go solids here. And hasn't made the solid he was forced to take on. Gorst back to the table. And now has a good look at the stripes if he wants to take them on. The 9 is hampered into the bottom left. Gorst straight away looking at what sort of shape he would need to take it into the bottom right corner or the top right as we're looking at the overhead.
If he wants to play the stripes, he can take the 14 into the side and play position on the 9 ball, as you mentioned there.
He turned it down, Arya. Maybe feels there's another way to get on it. Off the 10 here, perhaps. Always has an option with the 9 down there. If he isn't able to get much out of the pot on the 9. But first he's got to get onto it. Which he has done. Now really, Arya, the only other tricky one will be to get shape on the 11.
He's trying to land on the left side of the 2. Bit short on that one, so take the combination and use the 15 to play position on the 11. You can even leave the 11 for the last ball because of the position of the 8 ball there.
Well, depending on the angle he's got, he could go for it now and take the 11 a little earlier, but I have to agree, it's not a bad ball to land on last, but if you don't, it could be critical. How about that? That should do nicely, as long as he doesn't bring that red 3 into play, which I doubt he will do. this looks like 7-4, and this will be the last 3 going to Gorst in a row. In fact, I have it down as 4. So a good little run that Gorst is building here, Arya, and 7-4. Well, a few racks ago, I wouldn't have predicted it, but a bit of fortune from the break and some good safety play. Gorst is reaping the rewards. Quick look out across the table. Albin Ushan's already taken a result, Arya, beating Misko Fortunski 10-3, booking the first place in the quarterfinals.
Defending champ, of course, Albin Ushan.
Starting to build up nicely in the crowd. As I mentioned, following on from this match, be about an hour from now, the Seyberts Women's 10-ball Open quarterfinals will get underway. I will check in a moment to see if the full lineup for the quarterfinals has been announced. And then after that, we'll be back for more Yalin WPA Men's 8-ball World Championship action. We'll be kicking off the quarterfinals. And then following on from that and closing off a wonderful Tuesday, we will have at 7 p.m. the final of the Poison Mixed Doubles Open. Gorst to break, leading 7-4 in this race to 10. Ooh. Seen this a few times today. Arya, dry breaks and a bit of trouble on the table.
Yeah, I think the stripes is the way forward here. Could take the 15 right here and build his way towards up table where you can disturb the 13.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Good opportunities to run into the 6. The 12 is in a lovely position. So is the 11.
And you can leave that 14 as the last ball to play position on the 8 ball. He's a bit not ideal on the 9 ball, so can't really get close with a good angle on the, like you said, the 11 or the 12.
Might be forced into a stop shot here and a longer 11. No, may have a little angle to push through. I did like your shout, Arya. That 14 ball looks just right to be able to take the 8 into the left side pocket.
Now, I do believe he's got the angle here on the 11. If he can send the cue ball straight into the 6, preferably on the lower side from this camera angle, you would always have a shot on the 10. Took it off the rail, which is fine, but it does mean you'll need to take the 10 out as soon as possible. You could also play the combination, of course, the 13-10.
Well, that may force his hand here, Arya. If he's to take the combination on, I think he's going to be hampered by the 7 as well, so the 10 first.
Run through the angles here.
Nicely done. Doesn't need to finish straight on the green stripe 14 here. Not bad at all.
No, this is a timely response. In the previous rack, he missed a shot to the side, which was rather unexpected because the level of play in this match has been so high. So every little mistake is magnified, of course.
Yeah, this time it was a dry break, Hyatt. And that 8-ball, just to slow Fedor Gorst down, who was running away with it a little bit here after the break. Scoreline now back to 7-5. Break will return to Aloysius YAPP. Race to 10. And just bringing you a couple of other results already coming in. I mentioned about how well Victor Zielinski was playing against Stefan Kasper. He has completed that with a 10-1 win. Books his place in the quarterfinal. And Wu Kun Lin currently 6-2 up on Skylar Woodward. Skylar needing to dig deep there. Jason Shaw leading 8-7 against Claudio Cacci. And Mario Hay now trailing 4-7 to Daniel Maciel. And another big one, and a big player who's been delivering so far, Carlo Biado, finds himself 4-2 down to the Dutchman Marco Teutscher. So YAPP has been getting mixed successes with the break. And look at where he's breaking from this time. Right down the channel, Aya.
Yeah, he's seen that break pay dividends for Fedor. It's now his turn to give it a crack. Oh no.
Well, that ball took a hop, a skip, and jumped straight into the side pocket. YAPP put a lot of venom in there, but just no reward. Well, he's got to play forward here. And if he wanted to take stripes, he's very limited for options.
Yeah, either of the options would work.
I think we'll see him taking the 5-ball out here. So solids for Fedor Gorst. Oh, and a double kiss. That could have gone wrong.
Absolutely, considering he didn't want to have any business running into the 12. That's pretty fortunate how the cue ball has come up table. Might have to run his cue ball into the 8 here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Aya. I'm just looking at that 3-1 cluster. I don't think the 1 goes to the top left. And that's what he did. Slowed the cue ball down with the 8. Good spot.
2 balls, you know, the 1 and the 3 both go into the right middle pocket. Now, he's not got the angle here on the 7, but he can create the angle on the 7 off the 4 here. So drop the 7 in, take one of the 2 balls into the right middle pocket. That will open up the entire table now. Likely to be the 1. Because he's not dead straight here on the 1, he might even play a stun shot here. Yeah, that's keeping his options open.
Well, what a way to jump on YAPP's scratch off the break. He'd moved the cue ball to the center rather than the second ball break. That hasn't really been delivering, but scratched, and this is not what he would have wanted. Gorst now regaining that 3-rack advantage. This 6 and 8 needed.
He's looking strong here, Gethin.
Yeah, and if he's just timed it right to get his break working, he's going to ask some very difficult questions of Aloysius YAPP. Fedor Gorst extends his lead. 8-5 is the score in this race to 10. And it does look like we have one more result coming in from the last 16 in the men's. FSR, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, is taken Demetrius Lukatos 10-2 and is the 3rd player to make it into the men's quarterfinals. And just to let you know, the quarterfinals for the Seyberts Women's 10-ball Open has concluded. We've got it up. And Brittany Bryant from Canada taking on Chihiro Kawahara. Soa, big matchup against Yasmin Ushan. Kelly Fisher takes on Xiaofang Fu of China. And it is Christine Zlateva that picked up the last spot. She will take on Pia Filler. Those matches will be taking place following on from this in about 40 minutes from now. Back to Fedor Gorst with the break, and Aya, he's looking like he's running away with this somewhat now.
Yeah. When we look at the stats, Fedor's won 5 of the last 6 games.
He went back to a second ball break there with no success. And I have to say, if he can get onto this 3 from the 6, there are opportunities for the solids out there. Wants to take the 5 out the way next, by the looks of it. No, he didn't. He's gone straight for the 3.
Will he risk playing for the 7 here?
I don't know. I kind of like him drawing back for that 5. 5's a little bit tricky. You do have the 2 and the 1 to play onto it as well. But it does pass the 2 into the right side pocket. Does have options. It's quite straight on the 5 now, though. Not too sure what he's able to do with the cue ball from this shot. If there's any hint of an angle, he could bump into the green stripe next to it.
Oh, that's fine. He can take the 4 if he wants.
Nicely done. And well, it's not been the prettiest of breaks for either players in this match, but we have been greeted with some world-class top play here, some great pattern play, some beautiful openings and developments of clusters. And YAPP still very much in this match, although the scoreline not in his favour. He knows his opponent's also struggling a bit with his break.
Exactly, and that's why you can never count either of these two players out if they were, you know, behind, because the break has not been easy for all these top players. It's only actually Carlo Biado who's managed to produce a perfect set in one of his previous matches. Other than that, we've rarely seen 3 break and runs in a row, let alone 4 or 5 packs.
Well, just a little bit of care. Should be natural for shape on this 7. The cue ball coming off the side rail would be nice. He's managed to massage a ball's width. Now looking good. Get shape on this 8 ball.
I wonder if he can send the cue ball in between the 9 and the 10. He might have to run it into the line of the 12 and 11.
Worked out well. He's not going to let Fedor run away with this just yet. This 8 ball to bring the scoreline back to 8-6. And the break. Nice clap from the audience, which is getting a bit busier now. And 5 matches still underway. FSR, Albin Ushan and Viktor Zelinsky booking their places already in the quarterfinals. The quarterfinals will take place later today at 4 p.m. local time.
And we mustn't forget, Anios YAPP has won 7 of the last 8 meetings versus Fedor Gorst. And it also includes a match earlier in this same event.
Well, without jinxing it, if there was ever a time for Aloysius to get that break dialed in, this would be it. Is he just off center? Quite possibly, but he's coming back to the power break. He puts a lot of effort in these shots. Lost the cue ball last time.
Oh, that for a break. I tell you what, he's crushed the break, but still he's faced with a challenging rack. Not anything you would put past him, but have a look at this, Gethin. What would you go for? Stripes or solids?
Well, I would like to go stripes, but because of the 6 covering that pocket at the bottom left of the table, it's not immediately obvious how he can find the pattern. This is a very interesting one, and the reason I would want to go stripes is just because of that cluster of 3 solids in the center of the table. Also, it's not exactly the easiest of openers for solids. Well, we could pick the 5 off, perhaps, but go in stripes. Oh, I think he wanted to come a little bit more there and look early to come from the 10 to develop the 12. Hasn't done that.
I don't know, Gethin. He might not have to develop the 12. He could play position on the short side of the 12 to the top left. By the time he gets rid of the 10 ball, that's blocking the pathway for the 12.
Gorst hoping that he gets back to the table in this rack with an opportunity to get to the hill. Aloysius YAPP just taking a little bit of extra care and attention here after calling the extension. He's going to be running down towards these balls after this shot. Is he still playing for shape on that 10? He hasn't got it again. He's running out of balls. Does have a look at the 13 if he feels that this is not the time.
Context is everything, isn't it, Getting? He's running out of balls.
Yeah. Oh, he's going to sneak this past the 10. And that will now force him into having to play that 12 all the way up to the top left pocket. And that now is going to be a tricky one to do from the 13. So this might not be a flamboyant shot, but the next one could be.
You'll have to spin this in off 2 rails, maybe even the 3rd, which would be the side rail. Needs to make sure he comes past the 8 ball here. Whatever you do, don't hook yourself behind the 8. Beautiful shot. Absolutely beautiful. Like Jim Carrey would say, beautiful.
Yeah, now just needs to draw it back 3-4 balls worth. And that will be the second break and run for Aloysius YAPP. And what a time to do it. To bring him back within 2. And to retain the break. Sorry, to bring it within 1 and retain the break. This match is certainly by no means over. We also, Arya, have one more result in through. Booking his place in the quarterfinal, Jason Shaw has taken a very good 10-7 victory over Claudio Cacci. And the only match that's really stuck at the moment, Carlo Biado has brought the scoreline back to 4-4 against Marco Teutscher. That one just starting a little bit later. Now, quick look at the stats. Yeah, Aloysius YAPP starting to put the percentages up on the break success. And this is the time to do it. If he can keep Fedor in his chair now, well, good things can come from that, Arya.
Well, we talked about the safety, efficiency by Fedor in this match. Well, you can see there, falls drawn, 100% safety efficiency. And the most striking stat there is his break success, 13%, yet he's still in front. But the player overall performance will tell you that both players have been playing to a very high standard indeed, as we expected from them.
Yeah, completely agree. This was the pick of the bunch for me and has not failed to deliver. And I have to say, it's still got that feel, Arya, that there's a bit of drama to come. And it looks like with that, Fedor has just elected to take a break, a small comfort break. And while you're looking at the live statistics, Aya Sarabi and myself, Gethin Davis. We'll just take a very short break and we'll return with Fedor back to the table for the culmination of this very exciting last 16 matchup. Don't go anywhere. And a very warm welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the culmination of this very exciting last 16 matchup between Fedor Gorst and Aloysius YAPP. The story so far, well, real close contest until Fedor brought the scoreline to 4-4, then threatened to run away with it. YAPP digging deep, a good break and run, and now finds himself at the table trailing just by one. My name's Gethin Davis. Joining me back in the box, Aya Sarabi. Well, this is getting exciting, Aya.
Yeah, it's exactly what you would expect from these two top players. Yep, finding a bit of success now on the break. He's been pretty unfortunate, in all honesty. Can you see the combination? 2 and 1?
He might be stuck on the 5 in the side pocket. That would be unfortunate. And maybe the 4 is on to the bottom right, so all is not lost if he's successful in getting position off this 5. Played it well, avoided all the traffic and brought it back out into a nice position here. Very friendly for a ball into the side pocket.
Yeah. He's looking at that 3 ball. Obviously, he needs to make a decision. Either he wants to address the 4 ball using the 1, or take care of the 3 first and then head on towards the 4 ball. Because if you take the 1 here and then open up the 4, send your cue ball up table, you can pot the 3 into the same corner pocket. That's now been blocked by the 1.
He's taking the 1 here. Looking to use the 4 to get position on the 3, it would appear.
Just about on this 4.
Yeah. He's going to need to force it a little bit. I don't fancy drawing, unless he's going to draw for it, position to play it in that side pocket. He is.
He's lost his cue ball. He has lost his cue ball there.
He might still
Big
take it
veto.
on, as we just see. Yeah. And Soa. They've been together for a while.
This is a horrible shot, get in. Particularly on these side pockets. But not for Aloysius Rapp. That is... Considering he's missed, say, at least 2 balls into the side that were a lot easier than this one. It was a fantastic recovery shot there.
This 8-ball to bring the score back to 8-8, tied up. This is now a short race to 2. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Aloysius YAPP is just starting to blossom at the right minute when it comes to the break. And I did say, if he can keep Gorst in his chair, good things can come. So far, so good. Let's have a quick look out over the other tables. 5 players now have booked their place in the quarterfinals. FSR. Looks like Woo Kun Lin has taken the win against Skylar Woodward 10-2. He's in the quarterfinals, along with Jason Shaw, Albin Ushan, and Victor Zielinski. 3 matches still going. This is one of them. Mario Hay trailing 7-8 to Daniel Maciel. Carlo Biado now in the lead, 5-4 against Marco Teutscher. So the break, the timeout from Gorst didn't do anything. YAPP still at the table. Gorst still in his chair. It's just a race to 2 now, Hyatt.
Yeah, consecutive break and runs. His 3rd overall in the match. I would love to add another 2. Have a look at the spread. He hit it as good as he could have and barely anything moved. That is brutal.
That is. Quite a few stripes have come up onto these left long rails. The bottom of the screen as we're looking. I don't know if that makes it obvious to go solids. I need to survey the rest of the table first. That the 6 covering the pocket will probably help Fedor make his decision here. Taking the combination on 1-6 for his opener.
Yeah, I would say he's favorite to run out here.
Yeah, if he can float the 2 through, I would suggest just get to the left of the 3 so he can play down for the 1 off the 3. And then he just needs to get back up the top of the table for his remaining 3 solids. Good opportunity. Well picked up, Arya. Doesn't want to be straight. Ooh. Just got a little something to work with.
Now, if we would presume that Federer indeed will go on and clear the rack, there is one alarming stat not in his favor. His break success over the course of, well, 17 racks played is only on 13%, and that is a concern.
Yeah. And you know that will be in his mind if and when he gets his opportunity to break. If he gets his opportunity to break. It's looking right
And
now.
Kevin, respectfully, when you look back at this rack alone, Aloysius hit the first ball of the pack flush and as good as you could have hit him, and the rack barely even spread. So it's not like, you know, performing the best technical break will give you your best odds.
Well, natural shape here from the 5 can float up the center of the table, or rather up towards the 9 ball, or elect to take 2 rails. But if Fedor does win this rack, YAPP is going to be looking for a mistake off the break or in play from Fedor, because this will take him to the hill and will give him the break for the match. Fedor Gorst, being patient, had to sit in his chair and watch Aloysius YAPP come back with 2 break and runs, and has delivered and gets to the hill first in this race to 10. And you have to say now Arya finds himself in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I do wonder from where he'll break now. As you can see there, 13% break success. I wonder if he's going to break second ball. Or is he thinking to himself, I'm going all in on this?
Well, your guess will be as good as mine. I'm sure our viewers have a thought about it as well. I kind of prefer now, at this stage, I prefer the second ball break. And if it doesn't work, then there may be an opportunity to get back to the table with clusters arising. But only one man knows the answer to that question, Arya, and that's the man in question there, Fedor Gorst. This has been, so far, one of the most tightly fought and entertaining contests so far. Real top world-class play from these 2 top world-class players. Now Fedor Gorst.
There's your answer. Going for it. I like that. He's backing himself, going all in.
Ouch.
Boy, oh boy.
Ouch. Ouch. He hit them again good. Just lost the cue ball. Scratch. Ball in hand for YAPP. He will be looking to not let Fedor back to the table in this one. Stripes look nice. Solids don't look too bad either. Everything has a pocket, Arya.
Absolutely. Pressure is on though, get in. Now you would think if he is playing the stripes, take the 15 into the side and build your cue ball in areas where you leave yourself options. That seems to be the play.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of even don't mind taking the 11 and the 9 out now and just dealing with the 3 that he finds on the left-hand side of the table, but he's got options. Yeah, may now look to use that 9 as his key ball. So 6, then his choice, 12 or 10. This could be the hill that this match thoroughly deserves.
I don't think Federer will agree with you there, get in.
Well, I'm sure if it was someone else at the table and he was watching, he would agree, but no. Correct. Gorst would rather be at the table here, looking at this pattern ahead, but it's not, and it's Aloysius YAPP with a chance to take us to a hill decider. And
Well,
I tell you what, with the break, you would say it's advantage YAPP.
absolutely. If we look at Aloysius YAPP, his breaking success, 56%, which is respectable. And I tell you what, Gethin, that dry break could have been his last shot in the match for Fedor. Remains to be seen, of course. But it's not without the realms of the possibilities.
Yeah, I'm sure Fedor wouldn't want his lasting memory of St. Louis to be a scratch break. But there is that distinct possibility. We have gone to a 9-9 hill situation. Aloysius YAPP will get the break and has been having the better of the breaks, as the live statistics have shown. And well, as much as it would indicate that YAPP's favourite Aya, it's still not over yet, sir.
No, but when you look at the stats, pretty much everything is in favor of Aloysius YAPP. Break success, first shot after the break, have a look at that. That's 72%. That is huge. His overall performance is a bit higher. Table time is higher. Everything is in his favor. And importantly, he's pocketed 14 balls more than his opponent.
So, Aloysius YAPP to break in this final and deciding rack for a place in the quarterfinals. Ooh, a little twitch of the head, but more importantly, he's back at the table. A little grin from Fedor. This was what he didn't want to see, was YAPP back at the table. Let's have a look at the options he's got. What are you thinking, Aya, immediately off the bat?
Oh. Yeah, I think I would go for the stripes as well. What is he looking at? 15? Does that go past the 7? No, he's taking it into the side. Oh, what a good shot. What a good shot that is. Can I see the cue ball? I thought for a second he might have landed on the 9. I'm sure it was something he was trying to play position for. I'd rather be shooting pool.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, he makes it and has looked to get straight back on the 9. Looks like he's done it.
Awesome positional shot there.
Yeah, this is top stuff from both players, but at this stage of the match as well, really, this is impressive. Just had a little look. That was Robbie Capito. He was sat there with Sosoa. It looks like Sosoa is playing on this table next in the women's Seyberts Temple Open quarterfinal. She matches up against Yasmin Ushan. That will be an absolute thriller, and that will come after this match is completed. But let's bring you back to this 9 ball. And this could be the crucial shot of the rack for YAPP. Taking the 11. Looks very straight on it as well, which will help.
Aloysius YAPP, like I said earlier on in the program, has beaten Fedor Gorst 7 times in their last 8 meetings, and in this event, in the winners qualification, he also managed to beat him 8-5. He's got a great chance here to beat him, to book his place in the quarterfinal. And that cue ball has come far enough, and well, unless something drastically odd happens, he will be going through to the quarterfinal. And what a performance it's been. And I said it, that dry break could have been his last shot, and that's the brutality of the sport. It is proven to be. What a great match we had, Getin. It's been an honor.
Absolutely, Aya. This has been one of the matches of this World Championship so far. And Aloysius YAPP with the shake of the hands with Fedor Gorst. He will pick up a match against the winner of Mario Hay and Daniel Maciel, which is currently at 9-8 in favor of Daniel Maciel. Following up from this match, we will move into the quarterfinals of the Seyberts Women's